What's up guys, Jake Polino here. I'm at Angelus. You may have seen me on TikTok or Instagram dyeing my Air Force Ones with Barbasol and Angelus dye, but now they've actually teamed up and created a kit so that you can do it all yourself at home. So this is the official step-by-step tutorial on how to use their kit to dye your shoes at home. If you do enjoy the video and you want to see more videos like this, it would help me and Angelus out a lot if you liked, commented, subscribed, shared this video even. I want to do more of these, so we need your help for that. You may have seen people using shaving cream in the past to marble dye things, but nobody had done it on leather before. So flashback to July of 2021, I created a technique where you could use shaving cream, Barbasol, and Angelus dyes to actually dye leather shoes, which had never been done before. So now, flash forward to today, we have an official collab between Barbasol and Angelus to use my technique to dye your Air Force Ones at home. All you're gonna need for this technique is the Angelus Barbasol kit, some sort of bucket, it doesn't really matter what type, a pair of Air Forces obviously, and leather deglazer and tape. These two are optional, but I highly suggest it if you really want to get that professional look. First step, you want to take the laces out of your shoe. After the laces out, you take your leather prepper and deglazer, put it on a cotton swab or something like that. You wipe the whole shoe down, make sure you get every spot on it. This will just take the factory finish off and it'll make the dye stick a lot better. After you get the shoe acetoned, you want to take some tape and tape off any sections that you don't want dyed. I suggest personally taping off the sole. It just makes it look really clean, but you could tape off the check if you want. You could not tape off the check. You could not tape off the soles. It's really all up to you. All I'm doing now is heating up the tape and then pressing it down to the shoe. This just helps adhere to the sole a little bit better. It molds it to the shape. Make sure nothing leaks. This tape is seriously insane, like for real. I've never seen tape actually trap air bubbles like that. That's how sticky it is. Now that we got the shoe all prepped, it's time to get into our kit and get it going. So in the kit, we have our Barbasol shaving cream. Look at this fine can right here. This is a limited edition can you're only gonna get with this kit. It's beautiful. You will also get your choice of 3 Angelus leather dyes. You can pick whatever 3 colors you'd like. I'm personally using blue, purple, and gold today. The gold will give you a nice light yellow color. And the best part is, while you're waiting for these to dry, you get a cool Barbasol playing card deck. You can just play cards by yourself while you wait for these shoes to dry. And if you decide not to watch this video, we do include a full instruction card in the kit as well. Now you just want to move everything over to the side. We're going to get ready to get our bucket going. Make sure you put your shoes in a safe place so that when you're throwing the dye on the shaving cream, you don't accidentally get any on these. That's safe enough. Get our bucket nice and centered. Any bucket will work. Go to Walmart, Target, whatever, $5, get a nice bucket. Make sure it's big enough to fit your shoes in it. Now we're gonna get into the fun stuff. You wanna shake up your can, remove the lid, and just evenly coat the bottom of your bucket. Now we can get on to using our dyes. Little tip here, the back of the Angelus boxes has this hole that you can poke to stand up your bottles of dye because you will knock it over if you don't use the box as a stand. So let's pop these open, get them all set up. Pop the hole like this, and then boop, just like that. This next part is gonna get messy, so make sure you're in a good setting. Lay down a towel or something like that. Make sure you're not wearing any nice clothes because you will, I promise you will get dye on everything in the area. I would suggest being not like me and wearing gloves when you do this because if you get this dye on your hands, it'll stay there for a good week. You want to set your 3 dyes up, take the caps off obviously, and then you're going to dip the dauber into the dye. Make sure you're using 1 dauber per color. If you use the same dauber for all the dyes, you're going to get a mix mash of colors. It's not going to look good, so make sure you're using 1 dauber per color. You dip it into the dye and then you sling it around on the shaving cream. There's no rhyme or reason to this. The more dye that you use though, the more will show up on the shoe. So if you want a lot of color on your shoe, use a lot of dye. If you want less color and more white, use a little less dye. After you have all your colors laid down onto the shaving cream, you're gonna take a stick, a toothbrush, a paintbrush, some sort of thin stick, and swirl around all the dyes. You don't have to do this, you could just leave it as dots, but that's gonna leave a more blotchier look on your shoes. I would suggest, if you want that real marbled finish, to swirl around all the colors in the shaving cream. Don't mix it up too much because if you do, you're gonna get 1 muddy color rather than 3 distinct colors. So make sure that when you're mixing it, you get it to a good spot, but not overdoing it. All of the technical stuff is out of the way. All that's left now is to actually dip your shoes into your shaving cream dye concoction. Quick tip before you dye your shoes, I like to do this personally. Take the insole half out of the shoe and place it over top the tongue. This will protect the tongue from getting some dye on it. You will get dye on the insole, but you're wearing that anyway, so it doesn't matter. When you're doing this, you want to make sure the shoes go deep enough so that all sections are covered. If there are some sections on your shoes that are not touching the dye, make sure you roll the shoes around a little bit. You can MacGyver it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just make sure that every section on the shoe is being touched by dye. After you throw them in, let them sit for at least 5 minutes, but I like to be safe and let them sit just for 15 minutes. It's not going to hurt the shoes. The color is just going to get better as the time goes on. After they've sat for at least 15 minutes, take them out and just rinse them off. Easy peasy, there's no magic trick to this. Just rinse them in the sink for a good 5 minutes. You want to get all the dye out. After you've washed them off, give them a quick pat down and just let them sit to dry in a shady area. So here we have our almost final product. You can leave them like this if you wanted to. I like to take the extra time to paint the checks. I think it ties them together really nice. If you are gonna paint the checks, make sure they dry for at least a day. You want the leather to be bone dry before you put any paint on it. If you are gonna paint any area on the shoes, I would suggest taking your leather prepper and deglazer with some sort of cotton swab and going over that area just to remove any oils that might have been in the Barbasol. We're gonna use Angelus flat black paint to paint the checks. You wanna make sure that they're bone dry before you do this. And it's gonna take 2 to 3 coats. It's really quick, really easy. But like I said, if you like them how they are, leave them. If you don't trust your hand, if you have a little shaky hand, you might wanna tape off the sections around the check to make sure you don't get any paint on it. But I got a steady hand, so I'm just gonna go right in. All that's left to do now is throw the laces in there and take the tape off. I would suggest letting these dry for a full day before you throw your laces in, and take a cotton swab, run them through the holes just to get any excess dye out of there. You don't want to get any dye on your nice white laces. So we got our laces here from Lace Lab. We're gonna throw these in the shoe, take the tape off, and that's it. We did mess up a little bit. We got a little dye on our white laces, but this is a good teaching moment. If you get dye on your white laces, and white laces only, dip a Q-tip into some bleach, dab it on the spot, and it'll get rid of it completely. Just be careful not to get bleach on any spots that have dye that you don't want to remove. That's it, the shoes are all done. The tape held up way better than I expected. I've never seen tape hold up that well. There is no leakage whatsoever. However, if you do get some leakage, all you gotta do is take some white paint and throw it on there. Nobody will know the difference. Also, a huge shout out to Angelus for bringing me out here to do this video for you guys. I had a lot of fun. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, at Jake Polino. I'd appreciate to see you guys there. But thanks for having me and watching this video. I hope to see you guys' creations. Have fun with this.